This is another opportunity for me to continue to stake my claim to say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still working toward that title. I still believe a UFC title fight is in my future. I got a lot of tread left on the tires, and a win over Paddy Pimblett proves that I'm not here to just take these cherry-picked top 5 guys to protect my ranking. I'm throwing everything on the line April 12th.
If he gets the job done, Paddy Pimblett could potentially skip that line and go all the way to the front and potentially be the next title challenger.
It's a tricky one. I think this is a tough matchup for Paddy Pimblett, though. Having someone so aggressive, explosive, his grappling is going to be hard to I can't see him out-grappling Chandler early.
UFC 314 is just around the corner, and fans are buzzing with excitement for the highly anticipated co-main event, where Paddy Pimblett will square off against former UFC title challenger Michael Chandler in a 5-round lightweight showdown. The event will take place on April 12th at the Casillas Center in Miami. Michael Chandler is especially thrilled for this fight, as he loves competing in Miami. Another reason for his enthusiasm is facing the up-and-coming Paddy Pimblett, a young, energetic fighter eager to make a name for himself in the UFC after years of battling top-tier opponents. The 38-year-old Chandler is eager to prove he still has the passion and drive to compete at the highest level, and he's determined to showcase that against Pimblett.
I'm excited to compete in Miami. I went to the Miami card last year. Huge crowd. Everybody was into it. It was a great card. The UFC loves Miami. I love Miami. Obviously, I'm here training in South Florida, a little bit north of Miami. So it'll be a nice, easy trip down there and fighting Paddy Pimblett. So I get an opportunity to go out there and fight a young, hungry up-and-comer. I fought nothing but contenders thus far in the UFC. Now it's time to try my hat at a guy who's trying to make his name and come into the top 10.
Chandler has admitted that he's not concerned about whether he's facing a newcomer or a champion. His main focus is always on winning the fight. He's always ready to compete, and that mindset is what has allowed him to thrive and endure in the sport for so many years.
What is the mindset when that happens? Because you got title fights, you've had big name fighters, you went toe-to-toe with them all, and now, like you said, it's a different kind of fighter coming in. Does the mindset change at all, training and get ready for the fight?
Not really, I mean, I've always been the kind of guy who's like, hey, in front of me, I got 2 arms and 2 legs, I got a torso, and there's a head. All of them are targets, and all of them are dangerous weapons, right? So it's just doing what I've been doing for the last 24 years of hand-to-hand combat since I was 14 years old. And the mindset doesn't change. I mean, obviously, it's a co-main event in Miami, big card, and it's awesome. I get these great opportunities, man. It's always fun. The UFC puts on a great show.
Michael Chandler mentioned that while he likes Paddy Pimblett's personality, that won't affect how he approaches the fight. The American fighter emphasized that as a professional, his job is to compete, and he's determined to deliver his best performance on April 12th in Miami.
I've been vocal about it. I like Paddy Pimblett. I like his brand. I like what he does. He seems like a decent guy, but what we do for a living is fight in a cage, right? So just because I respect the guy, like the guy, doesn't mean I'm not going to go out there and absolutely try to separate him from consciousness in the middle of the Casillas Center in Miami, Florida on April 12th. So it's going to be fun.
On the other hand, Paddy Pimblett is targeting a title shot and views Michael Chandler as a crucial stepping stone on his path to fighting for the belt. His confidence is sky high, and he believes he won't need to rely on the judges' scorecards. The Englishman has confidently predicted a win via knockout or technical knockout. Speaking to ESPN MMA, Paddy said, "I think I could knock him out. I also think I could TKO him with leg kicks, but I don't think he'll try to take me down. He knows I'll submit him." Meanwhile, Michael Chandler is focused on putting on his best performance at UFC 314 to defeat Paddy. But that doesn't mean he lacks respect for his opponent. Chandler acknowledges Paddy's skills and achievements in such a short UFC career. He understands that this is a significant fight for Paddy, as a win would be a major step toward breaking into the top 10 of the lightweight rankings. However, Chandler isn't backing down, as he needs a strong comeback to move closer to a title shot.
I've got a ton of respect for Paddy. respect for what he has done, respect for the rise that he has had thus far, the brand, the platform that he has built. I believe he's never fought anybody like me. I believe I've fought the who's who, the Mount Rushmore of lightweights, first ballot Hall of Famers. And, this is a fight. This is a defining fight for him, a defining fight for me to prove that I'm still one of the best lightweights on the planet, and an opportunity for him to see if he can crack into the top 10. So we'll see what happens.
Michael Chandler praised Paddy Pimblett's character and acknowledged that he has the potential to become a serious contender for the belt. Chandler was impressed by Paddy's fighting style and skills, but he emphasized that he doesn't feel insecure about the rising talents in the lightweight division. He said, "He's a great guy, and Paddy and I have been in contact a little bit. He's in the perfect position right now. I'm the guy who's going to be champion in the next 12 months, and Paddy's going to be right there, nipping at my heels, climbing into the top 15 and top 10. But I don't have a scarcity mindset when it comes to others in my division, especially when I see guys like him doing things the right way." Chandler further shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight with Paddy, calling him both a great person and a fighter. He believes Paddy is a complete package, but is curious to see how he handles the pressure and continues to silence his critics as he maintains his form. Chandler added, "He's a remarkable guy, happy fun and a joy to watch. He's fun on the mic, and he's a total package. People can hate on him all they want, but they're just being haters. Paddy's the total package. We'll see what he can put together in the Octagon and how long he can keep winning." Looking ahead, Chandler shared his plans after defeating Paddy. First, he's focused on securing a win at UFC 314. After that, his sights are set on the lightweight title. Chandler is eager to challenge Islam Makhachev for the belt and is confident about his ability to defeat Paddy. He's even predicted a first-round knockout, stating he's excited for the fight and believes he can get the job done quickly.
I've already visualized knocking out Paddy Pimblett. A couple of the call-outs, a couple of things I'm going to say. First round would be great. I think I'm going to put a pressure and a pace and a presence on him that he's never felt before. Now we'll see if does he sink or he swims. I think just because there's been an absence of strength of schedule in his career thus far doesn't mean there's a presence of cowardice. He could be tougher than we think he is. We'll find out. But April 12th, Miami, Florida, UFC 314, we do find out if he sinks or swims. But knock him out first round. Go out there, rip off a crazy promo draped in the stars and the bars. Hopefully President Trump is cage side.
Paddy Pimblett is fully aware of Michael Chandler's intentions, but he's ready for any challenge that comes his way. He knows Chandler will come out strong, but the English fighter is prepared for whatever tactics are thrown at him. Paddy is confident that he can submit Chandler, stating, "He's explosive, and I know he's going to come and try and take my head off. That's what we're preparing for. We're ready for it. And I don't think he'll go for takedowns because he knows I'll submit him." Meanwhile, Henry Cejudo believes that if Paddy beats Michael Chandler at UFC 314, he could quickly become a strong contender for a title shot. However, Kamaru Usman disagrees, pointing out that defeating Chandler doesn't automatically guarantee a title opportunity. Usman argues that with fighters like Arman Tsarukyan, Alex Volkanovski, and Justin Gaethje in the mix, it's unlikely that Paddy would face Islam Makhachev just by beating the 7th-ranked Chandler.
If he gets the job done, Paddy Pimblett could potentially skip that line and go all the way to the front and potentially be the next title challenger. What do you think, man? Am I crazy, Kush?
Whoa. No. I think you are a little. That's a little far-fetched. If Paddy Pimblett gets past Michael Chandler, that does not warrant a title shot. When Charles Oliveira has gotten past Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje has gotten past Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier has gotten past Michael Chandler, that does not warrant a title shot. Those are just 3 names right there. And then you've also got Arman Tsarukyan. You've also, let's not forget, Ilya El Matador Poirier.
American fighter Beneil Dariush has shared his thoughts on the upcoming clash between Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler at UFC 314, giving the Englishman an edge in the grappling department. Dariush believes that Chandler could be the perfect opponent for Pimblett to break into the UFC's top 10 rankings. He said, "I think for Paddy it's perfect. You could be a fan of Chandler, but you have to admit he's on a downward slope. Honestly, I don't think he's on his way to the top anymore. It's the perfect time for Paddy to face him, and I think Paddy has a very good chance of beating him." Dariush was also surprised by Chandler's performance in his rematch with Charles Oliveira at UFC 269, where Chandler was taken down 5 times and controlled for almost 15 minutes before losing by unanimous decision. Dariush admitted, "Charles was able to get a lot of takedowns on Chandler, which, to be honest, I didn't expect. I thought maybe 1 or 2 takedowns, but to be taken down every round was very surprising to me. So I think Paddy has a great chance. I think the fight will mostly play out standing, but if Paddy engages in grappling, he'll have a lot of success." Dariush also expressed concerns about Chandler's declining wrestling, suggesting that age might be a factor. He feels Chandler's struggle to maintain his wrestling game gives Paddy a significant opportunity. For whatever reason, Chandler is wrestling less than he used to, Dariush said. "Wrestling isn't like striking, where you can just hit the mitts and be back in shape. Wrestling requires constant drilling, and as you get older, it becomes harder and harder to do. He's not wrestling as much, and that gives a big opportunity for Paddy to win." Meanwhile, Alexander Volkanovski believes this will be a close fight, and it's tough to predict a clear winner. The former featherweight champion acknowledged that both fighters are highly skilled and the matchup will be intriguing. He's especially interested to see how Paddy handles Chandler's explosive style, particularly in the later rounds.
And Pimblett, interesting one, man. Like it's a hard one to pick. Hard one to pick because Chandler is so dangerous, explosive, right? You know he's going to come guns blazing. You know, can Paddy Pimblett fight that right fight? I think in them later rounds, Paddy Pimblett can maybe, because he showed against Green, he showed a lot more composure and strategy, which I thought was great, which he will need. So it's a tricky one because who's the favourite in this one? I think I've seen that. Well, Paddy Pimblett was the favourite, maybe?
Yeah, I think Paddy might be the favourite.
Yeah, something like that.
Alexander Volkanovski believes that this will be a tough fight for Paddy Pimblett, but he thinks the Englishman has the skills to submit Michael Chandler at UFC 314. Volkanovski further explained how the fight could unfold depending on the number of rounds. Initially, he thought it would be a 3-round encounter, but with the UFC officially announcing it as a 5-round co-main event, he adjusted his expectations accordingly.
It's a tricky one. I think this is a tough matchup for Paddy Pimblett, though. Having someone so aggressive, explosive, his grappling is going to be hard to I can't see him out-grappling Chandler early. Later on, maybe getting positions and maybe look for submissions and stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting one. Is it 5 rounds? That's what I want to know.
I think 3 rounds. 3 rounds.
See, 3 rounds. That's a tricky one.
That's a hard
5 rounds. I'm picking. Hey.
That's a harder one for Paddy because
exactly 5 rounds. 5 rounds. 5 rounds. I would have been like, oh yeah, Paddy's could look better for him in them later rounds, but 3 rounds makes it difficult. Tricky one, but fun. I think it's going to be fun. Chandler fights always fun.
Yeah.
Featherweight fighter David Onama is backing Michael Chandler to secure a victory at UFC 314. The Ugandan professional fighter also acknowledges that Paddy Pimblett shouldn't be underestimated, but he believes Chandler will get the job done on April 12th.
I'm gonna go with Chandler. I'm gonna go with Chandler.
Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, Chandler's gonna pull it off.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, it's fair. Yeah.
I know Paddy too. Paddy, you can't count him out. Yeah, he talks a lot, but he'll always back it up.
You going with Chandler?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Chandler.
Meanwhile, Patricio Pitbull Freire is not backing his former rival, Michael Chandler, to win at UFC 314. Instead, Pitbull has picked Paddy Pimblett to come out on top against Chandler. In May 2019, Pitbull dethroned Chandler to become the Bellator lightweight champion with a first-round TKO. Reflecting on the upcoming fight, Pitbull said, "It looks like Paddy Pimblett is in the better moment of his career, and he's going to win that fight. I know he's very confident, and I think he's going to get the win." After a successful MMA career, Pitbull is now set to make his Octagon debut at UFC 314, where he will face former interim featherweight champion Yair Rodriguez. As for Chandler, he's not interested in reigniting his feud with Pitbull, but Pitbull has a different perspective, saying he's ready to fight Chandler again if the opportunity arises. "Yes, I can do that many times," Pitbull stated when asked about a potential rematch with Chandler. Tom Aspinall also shared his disappointment after watching Michael Chandler fight live. Aspinall used to admire Chandler's fighting style, but stopped rating him highly after seeing his performance against Charles Oliveira. Aspinall was particularly unimpressed with how Chandler approached that fight.
I was there for Charles Oliveira and Mike Chandler.
Yeah.
And I got to watch him. I got the pleasure of watching them both up close.
Yeah.
And you know yourself, watching it on the TV and watching it when you're 10 feet away is two completely different things. And I watched Chandler, and granted, Chandler had been out the Octagon a little while at the time, I think a couple of years or whatever, so he might have been a bit rusty, and he was fighting Charles Oliveira, who's one of the greats at the weight division. But I didn't rate him, to be honest. I thought he looked off.
Although Aspinall was not impressed with Chandler's performance at UFC 269, he still believes the American fighter will bounce back soon.
I thought, yeah, he wasn't great. He wasn't as good as I thought he was watching him on the TV. And I think
He had been out for a bit of time.
He had, definitely. Love watching him fight, obviously. If you're not a Michael Chandler fan, like, you're probably not going to enjoy MMA because he just goes for it.
Former Bellator welterweight champion Rory McDonald has shared his insights on the upcoming fight between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. The Canadian fighter highlighted the key areas where Paddy could target to secure a win, as well as what could be the deciding factor in the fight. McDonald said, "It's a good fight with totally different styles. Early on, maybe Michael has the edge, but if Paddy can weather the storm of Michael's explosiveness and high pace, he could stay in the fight, possibly using his grappling to survive." Rory also offered his thoughts on a potential lightweight title matchup between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. He believes that the former UFC featherweight champion has the power to knock out Makhachev in their upcoming fight, stating, "Probably Topuria by knockout. I think he has good enough grappling to handle himself and keep the fight where he wants it." That's all we have for today's video. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Chandler versus Pimblett in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for instant notifications about our latest content.